In your Money Watch today, a new report finds Social Security and Medicare benefits will need to be cut in 2035. That's actually 1 year later than previously forecast. According to the trustees' annual report for those programs, there will only be enough money from payroll tax revenue and other income sources to cover about 83% of the benefits owed.
In 2023, around 67 million Americans received Social Security benefits. Both President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump have promised to protect Social Security and Medicare.
Let's discuss with Dan Casey, a financial planner and owner of Bridge River Advisors. Thanks for being here today.
You're welcome.
So this is concerning. A lot of people are going to be very worried when they hear about this. Let's start with current retirees who are already relying on Social Security income. What does this mean for them?
Yeah, so probably, I guess if anything, if I were to guess, if you're currently on it, probably less likely to be drastically affected. And maybe it's going to be for, if you're 5 years from retirement or 10 years from retirement, you're going to see some cuts. Or, maybe they go into some sort of means testing where if your income is a lot, not counting Social Security, well, then maybe they're going to reduce it more for you. So it's just so hard to know how they might do that if it comes to that.
Yeah, it seems like every few weeks we hear about something like this, even a government shutdown, how that could affect a lot of people. But we just saw that there are millions of people who depend on these benefits.
Yeah.
How seriously should they be taking this warning?
Very, I guess, is the answer. So most people count on this type of guaranteed income that lasts. It doesn't matter how long you live. So it's really important. A lot of my clients, it's usually about half to 2/3 of the income that they think they want in retirement. So it's a big chunk. So yeah, you really want to, I guess it all goes back to just planning, talking to a financial advisor like myself or someone else, and figuring out how much you think you want in income in retirement, how much is already going to come in that of pensions, things like that. But most people don't get pensions anymore either. So it's really just planning for that kind of thing, and maybe looking to other avenues of creating some sort of income streams if they do start to cut Social Security.
So, of course, the hope is that the government at some point will find a way to find a solution for this.
Yes.
But let's say that doesn't happen. How about those who are already working and they're quite a ways away from retirement?
Yes.
How should they be thinking about this?
Yeah, so a lot of times when you think of the word pension, all the corporations are doing, the place that you work for is putting a lump sum with an insurance company to provide a guaranteed income stream. So you can do the same thing. You can do it in the retail world. Find an insurance company that has these types of annuities that pay out guaranteed income for the rest of your life, and start planning and maybe setting aside some of that money for those income streams. So, Social Security cuts, whatever. You've done your planning, and you've got yours set aside, and you can flick the switch and get another guaranteed income stream.
So would that be in addition to your 401k savings?
Yeah, it could be the 401k savings.
Okay.
Because if once you turn age 55, you're allowed, most are allowed to roll some of that out. It's a tax-free event into your own traditional IRA, and then just create an IRA pension from using those annuity companies. So you can still do it sometimes before you even retire. And you got to remember too, there's 13,000 baby boomers retiring every single day. 13,000 flicking on Social Security for the first time. So there's a reason why it's right now our number 2 expenditure in the U.S. 1.4 trillion every year is what we spend on Social Security. So it's a little scary.
Yeah, Dan, we often talk to you about saving in general anyway. Is this conversation just a reminder of how important that is?
Yes, exactly. If you're totally relying on Social Security, then yeah, you may want to, again, either ramp up savings or start to think about having some of your savings set aside into a safer pension-like annuity, like what we sell or other financial advisors provide.
There's always that advice, meet with a financial advisor, and yet a lot of people just don't take it. Can you kind of describe what that process is like?
Yeah, it's scary for a lot of people to kind of open up and say, this is how much I've saved, and to be judged. Of course, we don't judge. So really, when you're meeting, you're just kind of getting an idea of how much you've saved, how much you're putting into savings, and really the big one is how far are you from retirement, and how much do you want in retirement? I'd say 90% of my clients, they all seem to want $80,000 a year. That's what they want. So it's our job, and after that first meeting, after gathering all that data, to find out what your gap is from the guaranteed income streams, like a pension or Social Security, find out what that gap is, and then providing strategies to fill that gap. And if we think Social Security is going to go down, then you should probably provide a higher gap.
Yeah, and this kind of shows, too, that you can't be too dependent on anything, any other investments or other things that people could keep in mind just to protect themselves in the long run.
Yeah, so that's a good point. At the end of the game, it's diversification, right? So you don't ever count on one particular source of income or asset class to to provide all your solutions, all your guarantees. So you just gotta be flexible. Even now with rates so high, CDs are now paying really good rates. Short-term guaranteed annuities are paying really good rates. Let's take advantage of that and maybe, set aside some money, get some guaranteed money that's, if you have like 4 or 5 years to retirement, so we know there's going to be a bucket of money that there is safe regardless of what the market does.
An upside to those higher interest rates.
Yes, exactly. There is one.
Yeah. All right, Dan Casey, thanks so much for joining us today.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
your
Thanks.
time.